Lately, it feels like the world has descended into a kind of madness. Bombs falling on cities, children dying in places that most of us will never see with our own eyes. And much of it is happening in plain sight, in front of the entire world. And the rule of law is being replaced by the rule of power, by those who have the most weapons, the most money, and the least accountability. If you're someone who pays attention, if you allow yourself to actually feel what is happening, it can be overwhelming, right? Disorienting even. And you start to wonder, what kind of world are we actually living in? And part of what makes this moment so unsettling is something that many of us are beginning to see more clearly than ever before. There are people with immense power in this world, political power, economic power, military power, who have come to believe that they can do almost anything and get away with it. A kind of untouchable class, an elite world where decisions are made far away from the lives that they destroy, where consequences seem to fall only on ordinary people. And we've seen this pattern throughout history, right? Power begins to believe that it answers to no one. And when that happens, the rules that once protected us begin to erode. The temptation in times like these is to become numb, to scroll past it, to turn away, to convince ourselves that there is nothing that we can do. But history has never been shaped by people who chose apathy. It has always been shaped by people who refused to look away. People who chose conscience and humanity and courage over staying silent. And every one of us has that same choice. We can accept a world where power acts without accountability, or we can be the generation that refuses to normalize it. Now, when ordinary people choose to stand for dignity, truth, and justice, something starts to move. That light spreads. And it might not be loud or bright at first, but person by person, voice by voice, it starts to illuminate. Now, yes, this is a difficult time to be alive, but it's also a really important one. Moments like the one that we're living through, they ask something of us. They ask us to remember who we are. And not as spectators of history, but participants in the kind of world that will emerge from it. So don't let the darkness convince you that light is powerless, right? Keep speaking, keep caring, keep standing for what is right, what you believe is right. Because if enough of us refuse to surrender our humanity, then the future will remember this time not only for the suffering that we witnessed, but for the courage with which people chose to rise and say, we see what is happening, and we will not accept it as the way that the world must be. That's how the light wins.